Prior to my homily today, I'd like to ask for your intercession, your prayers. Some of you may have met Patrick Willey. He is a seminarian. He was from the Diocese of Chicago, but now he's for the Diocese of Peoria. He's visited on different occasions. But anyways, he introduced me to a young man in our own diocese that he met at NCYC last year. Long story short, his name is Casey Deal. He's a young man he's come out to the parish and visited a few times. And Casey Deal desires very much so to be a priest and has begun the application process here in our diocese and has his psychological evaluation today. So please pray for him, for that God's grace may be with him and that he will be found not totally insane, but just insane enough to be a priest, which is, there has to be a little bit on the spectrum. So pray for Casey today. We've been, a whole bunch of us with him have been praying a novena to St. Therese of Lisieux, which of course ends today on this feast day of the Little Flower. And so prayers and intercessions today for Casey. He wants to be a really holy priest, so let that be the case today. We in America have this mentality that bigger is better, and it probably is rooted even in the mentality of America of constantly expanding towards the West and manifest destiny, and this understanding of the greatness of America. And America truly is a great land and a great place, but rooted in our understanding of life is that bigger is always better. Some of you may have seen the documentary. It's old now, but Super Size Me. If you've never seen it, it is worth a watch, about McDonald's and this one man who decides to eat McDonald's 3 times a day for an entire year, and what happens to his body. And McDonald's employees were clearly trained that when you order something, they're always supposed to ask, would you like to supersize that? And so he also then evaluated McDonald's all across the country on whether they actually asked that question or not, because not every McDonald's employee does that. It's a financial total by the way, supersizing is amazing. You get 15 extra French fries, but they make $2 more off of you. It really is it's a marketing it's unbelievable. We have, in this American mentality, bigger is better. We need to supersize things, and the more that we have, the better. To make this reality today, I even had the college students from Miami bring the tallest kid at Miami University with them today, so that we could realize that bigger is always better. So you are better, sir, just so you know. Our feast today of St. Therese of Lisieux, she takes a completely different approach. She will take the approach that little is better, that the small way and the little way is the path to sanctity. One of my favorite quotes of St. Therese is, "Our Lord does not look so much at the greatness of our actions or even at their difficulty as at the love with which we do them." Our Lord does not so much look at the greatness of our actions or even their difficulty as at the love with which we do them. It is this little way of doing small things with great love, this pattern and this model, that we find that in every moment of our life, we are called to be a saint. St. Therese of Lisieux also says this: "The value of life does not depend upon the place we occupy. It depends on the way we occupy that place." The value of life does not depend upon the place we occupy, but upon the way we occupy that place. Life is not about status or position or title. Life is truly about how we live in the moment that we are in. And she would say that we fill that moment and that place with love. The great thing is that like everyone qualifies for this way of life. Not all of you can qualify to be the tallest student at the University of Miami. You can't. Some of you are short. But everyone can qualify to occupy the place that they live in, the state that they are in with tremendous love. That's why it is the little way, the simple way, and it is the way that one by one we are able to influence the world, change the world, and allow the love of God to literally pass in us and through us in the most powerful of ways. Some of you know I have a friend named Father Brian Stitt. He is from Ogdensburg, New York, and the Diocese of Ogdensburg. We studied together over in Rome. At the North American College in Rome, like every other institution, organization, there were positions that you could obtain in the seminary that were looked at as being like really awesome, and then there were positions that were looked at as being like the worst. So at the North American College, the highest position that you could get chosen to be would be, there were two. One was to be a liturgical MC, so at Mass. And remember, like at the North American College, it was like completely ordinary that at like daily Masses there would be sometimes 2 or 3 bishops. Completely normal. On a Sunday Mass, like there would be multiple bishops or cardinals, and because you're living like literally a 7-minute walk from St. Peter's Basilica. So liturgy was taken very seriously, the celebration of Mass was taken very seriously, and so to be the MC, the Master of Ceremonies, and to train the servers and boss the servers around and whatever else, that was like really, really highly coveted. The other one, you were called King Stuac, and you were in charge of, we had like a general store where we sold American products in Italy. But anyways, nonetheless, as you can only imagine, I desired very much so to be a Master of Ceremonies. And so when they posted the list on the bulletin board, to my surprise, I made a really bad decision one day. There was this really nice guy in the seminary who was in charge of putting the flowers on the altar, and he needed help one day. And he asked me at lunch, he's like, hey, I need some help putting flowers on the altar. And I was like, sure, I could do that. Sure, what time do you need me to be there? And so I showed up and I put the flowers on the altar like he told me to do, and he was this really nice, happy guy. And I never thought anything of it. Little did I know that was my training and qualification round. So when the list gets posted on the sacristy, when the list gets posted for the seminary, at the very, very top of the list, of course, is, Master of Ceremonies, and it lists off the 4 guys from my class that have been chosen. At the very, 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 very end, what was known as Flower Boy. And there was my name. I remember just being absolutely deflated and so frustrated. And the next morning I woke up and Stitt, as I called him, Father Brian Stitt, he had made a little pious little prayer card, and it had St. Therese of Lisieux on it, and he had written in beautiful calligraphy this quote from St. Therese of Lisieux: "How I love to adorn Jesus with flowers on his altar." And that reminder, in a very true sense, that it's not the place that we occupy, it's how we occupy that place. That we become holy in a very true sense with the amount of love that we do each action and gesture within our lives. That the smallest acts are seen before the throne of God when they are coated and covered in God's love and God's grace and his mercy as infinitely meritorious in a powerful way. Today we ask the intercession of St. Therese of Lisieux that she may lead us and guide us to do tremendous things with the greatest of love. Speaking of flowers, I would like to draw your attention. There's these beautiful flowers that are here on the altar of Our Lady. Those are from the funeral that we had yesterday. for the little Werner boy, Elliot Joseph. We had a very powerful funeral yesterday at 4 o'clock for him, clearly a saint in heaven, and so we ask his intercession today as well. Let us stand.